welcome back all the old guests and welcome all the new people that's joining us today. And I'm so happy to see that people registered for this course. We were wondering whether it's going to work or not, because we usually talk about HR related stuff, business related stuff. And but with the last 2 years with COVID and everything, we just realized that the parent that had to now work at home and homeschool needs help with showing their children how to study. So I just thought bringing it into the workplace would be a very good idea. So my name is Celia Denton. I'm an industrial psychologist. We have been, well, the Study Methods Academy has been going on for more than 10 years now. It is an online business that we present worldwide to people, where we teach them study methods and techniques. And believe it or not, well, I don't have to convince you, because the schools sometimes still don't have a proper class or course just for study methods. I'm surprised at that, because when I was in school, which was about 25 years ago, we didn't have it. And it hasn't really changed. Although there's a lot of tips and techniques, there's way more things out there now than in the past. But it's still not being totally focused on, zoomed in on, because children are not the same. They learn differently, they hear differently, and so their approaches may be differently. So I just want to say thank you again to the HR Talk that's arranged this webinar, and we're doing all the webinars through them. So thank you for that. Also, please take note, we're having this session today. There's another one to just reiterate everything on the 1st of December. Yes, it's the Wednesday, the 1st of December. In case what I'm giving you today is maybe just a little bit too much and overwhelming, it would be a nice thing to attend the second one, just to get it fixed in your head again, to get the message, because sometimes it's a lot of information. You just need to hear it again. So the 1st of December, we will have a follow-up. Also, the other reason why I'm doing it this year and not only next year is so that you can start doing your preparations this year for next year. Because by the time parents and students comes to us, they are already in the exam period. It's actually too late then. You need to start your year with all of these things and have it planned correctly, have your tools ready, do your planning. So this is why I'm doing it this year already, so that you are not caught off guard. Okay, so let's start. This would be the manual that you're going to receive. Please take note that we did a total overall of the website. So the website address and the email address will be changed. This is the old email address and website address. Okay, so before we start, I want you to think about your favorite movie. Whether it was a favorite movie or just a good movie, I want you to think about a movie that you've watched, whether it was last weekend or 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Think about a movie that was really good for you, that you enjoyed, that you still think about today. You'll watch it again. And you are welcome to share your thoughts in the chat box. So please participate. This is going to be a fun session. This is not going to be like a school class. This is going to be a fun session. I'm going to tell you things that you probably know. I'm going to tell you a few things that you're just going to tweak just like that. And it's going to make it 100 times better for you already. Okay, so here we go. A movie that someone really liked, Dirty Dancing. Now, that was very long ago, wasn't it? I think I was in high school when that was a hit. So that's like 25 years or more ago. And I still remember everything about Dirty Dancing. Something borrowed, I don't think I've seen it, but if someone is going to, if you think it's a good movie, I will look it up and I'll watch it. So an example that I always use is Titanic. And there's someone's got the Titanic. And then there's someone who says, think like a man. Yes. So I love the fact that you mentioned Titanic, because that's my example. And A Beautiful Mind, absolutely. I remember everything about that. So You're going to ask me why I'm asking you this, because don't you think that it is interesting that you can remember most of the movie, you can remember the storyline from 25 years ago, 30 years ago even, but you cannot remember the stuff that you studied last night or even last week. Is that a good question or isn't it? So I always used to think, but it doesn't make sense, because I remember Titanic very well. I remember the two on the front of the boat. I didn't study it. I didn't try and remember it or try and memorize it. I remember the whole storyline. Some of the details are fuzzy. Of course it will be, because your brain is just a brain. It's going to forget some things, but it's going to remember the core things. So there's a reason why when you study, we don't remember everything. But when you watch a movie, you remember almost everything. So the difference is we use a visualization technique. When you watch a movie, you are putting the information into the already existing structures in the brain. So you're just feeding it in, and you just accept it and you remember it. But when we learn, when we try to remember, we're forcing it into a different angle. And I'm going to show you a visualization technique that's no effort. It's the same as watching a movie. You just only need to adjust a little bit the way that you approach your study work. Because remember, study work is still study work. It's not like watching a movie, but you can approach it in the same way. So you would have to put in the same amount of effort. You have to be organized. You are going to have to do it in the way that I'm telling you to do it in order to remember it. But anyone can do it. Anyone can remember a movie that they've watched. This means that you can study well and remember it. So the problem with most children, definitely with myself when I was in school, is you make use of your short-term memory. So what happens with children in school, when they are young, they are taught to remember and memorize. So they actually make use of their short-term memory. Now they get into high school, the work increases towards matric. It is a hell of a load of work. Forget about university. That's a total different ball game, because now it's tripled. Plus, you don't have the support that you have in school. So because the workload increases, your short-term memory gets overloaded. So you need to get a way to put it into the long-term memory, because we don't do that. You don't do that. I didn't do it. I barely made high school, and my marks weren't that great. Today, I'm busy with my PhD, so I couldn't have been that stupid. I was just doing it in the wrong way. The irony is, children try and put information into the short-term memory. They can remember actually pretty well. They don't do well, but it's actually pretty good to be able to recall everything with your short-term memory. So actually, in fact, you must be quite bright to go on the information that you put in your short-term memory. But you think you're stupid because you can only remember half of it. The fact that you can remember half of it actually makes you quite bright already. So we need to move away from the short-term memory, and we need to try and get the information into the long-term memory, and we will use visualization. So usually what happens is this goes hand in hand with a hell of a lot of stress as well. We try to remember. We try to get it in. We need to stop doing that. We're going to start doing it effortlessly. Right. So I'm going to show you two techniques that you can choose from. I usually show children this. I just want to keep an eye on the time, because I want to try and get to two very important parts today. We may not get through everything, but I am going to cover the most important parts. Okay, so let me just make the screen bigger. So we've got three techniques here, but I'm going to focus on two techniques. Firstly, a structured summary technique, and then secondly, an unstructured summary technique. So you need to get away from your handbook. You need to get away from all the writing and the words and the sentences. You need to summarize very efficiently, very effectively. This is why I asked you to get some blank printing papers, just normal blank papers. You don't want to use papers that's got lines on it. Now you're putting more stuff in your brain that you don't need. Blank papers. And all of us have got it. Go get a whole bunch of blank papers. And let's start with the most important part first. So you're going to choose which one you like the most, the structured summary or the unstructured summary. There is a storytelling technique here as well. We'll get to that later. That's not so important right now because we also do storytelling sort of in the structured and unstructured summary techniques in any way, but that's for later. Let's not do too much. You're going to see now, I'm going to show you a picture of the structured summary and the unstructured one. When you look at it, you'll know immediately what you like. If I show students this, they immediately tell me what they like. So I also have a preference. I'm going to tell you what. When you get this manual, before I get to show you the example, in front of every section, there's a self-evaluation part that you can see on here. That is just to ask you a little bit of questions about the section, to get you thinking about, are you doing it already? Are you neglecting it? And what does it mean? So that's just to get you thinking a little bit. We're not going to do that today. I'm going to focus on the structured and the unstructured learning or summary techniques. So this is what the structured technique look like. So they did ask Einstein, how does he learn? Because he was very clever. Actually, as a matter of fact, he didn't do very well in school. Just because he thinks differently, and he thought and learned with pictures and images. He didn't memorize the way that we are being taught in school. So this is a structured memory, a structured summary technique. So how we're going to start is, say, for example, you've got your history book. I'm going to keep this very simple. You're going to have blank pages for every single chapter in that book. And you are going to draw like a type of organogram for every single chapter. So this is how you're going to summarize it. And you're going to number your pages, because remember, a whole handbook could have 50 pages. You're going to get very confused if you don't start numbering your summary pages. Put them in a file consecutively and be organized. If you don't tell me you're not an organized person, and that's what the other thing that I hear, I don't do planners or whatever. Well, do you want to succeed or don't you? You have to make the decision. Either you're going to be organized or not. So this is going to be my chapter 1. So let's do chapter 1. Okay, before I go into the detail, let me just show you the second preference. This is my structured preference. Now, the other preference is the typical mind map. It's exactly the same principle, but can you see it just looks differently? Now, a lot of people love this one. A lot of people love it. Tony Buzan is the one who promotes this one. He loves it. This one for me is too chaotic. It's too creative, but you will know immediately whether you like this one or the previous one that I showed you with the that's more structured, like an organogram. But can you see it's the exact same thing? You've got the heading, and then you've got the subheadings here, and then you've got the contents of the subheadings. It's exactly the same thing. So look at the unstructured technique, which is the typical mind map, and let's go back at the structured one. Here we look at the structured one. Can you see it's exactly the same thing? It's just differently on my page. Here I've got my topic. Here I've got my subheadings. Apples, pears, bananas are my subheadings, and here I've got the contents. Can you see it's exactly the same thing? So you can choose which one you like. I choose this one purely because my brain just wants it organized. So it depends on your personality type. It depends on how your brain is, which one you would find attractive. So I want us to go through how will I summarize a chapter. So I've simplified this very much so that we can do this as simple as possible. And this is what you can use your blank page for. If you have it, you can do it with me. So firstly, what you're going to do, you're going to take your handbook, you're going to take chapter 1, and you're going to see what is my heading for chapter 1. So in this case, my heading, my subject or the chapter is about fruit. So I write fruit here at the top. So whether I write out the word fruit or draw a picture doesn't matter. You write it at the top here. Then you go through your work and you identify, circle in your handbook, in your notes, whatever, your subheadings. If there isn't structured subheadings, you identify them for yourself. And you identify what is the chapter about. So here I've written down apples, pears, bananas. I know chapters are way more complicated than this, but this is just to simplify it so that you can see what I mean. Then only I'm going to go into the depth and into the detail of what is this chapter about apples. And then I write down my details over here. Whether I draw pictures, write out a few words, doesn't matter. So I do that with every single one. Can you see I already have an overview of my chapter? I've still not memorized it. Don't worry about that. I'm going to show you the visualization technique after this, but I first want us to just do step 1. Please tell me in the comments if I'm going too fast, and if you can't follow. Sorry, let me just go to where the notes are, because I want you to get a good idea of what it is that we're doing here. Okay, so let me just cover all the basics with you. So firstly, get an overview of the subject. So this is chapter 1 that's being studied. In this case, it's fruit. Break the chapter down into understandable headings with subheadings. So in your notes, circle it. Put there 1, 2, and 3. There's 3 subheadings or 5 subheadings in this whole chapter. Use only one word for a heading and one word for the subheadings. Now, everyone says, but I can't just write down one word. I'm not going to be able to follow and whatever. You will never memorize things in isolation. So if I write down the jam, I'm not going to say, because this is what they teach us in schools, is to memorize jam. No, you want to look at jam in the whole bigger picture. What does jam have to do with apples? What does it have to do with juice? What does it mean? What are they trying to tell me? So the single word is just my trigger. It is my association that I'm making. So, but when I show you the visualization technique, you will understand this better. Also, you will do better when you learn to relax and you've got proper relaxation techniques, because if you're calm and confident about what you're doing, one word will be enough for you. I also struggled when I started with this because I was making a hell of a lot of notes. The more confident I got over years, the better I got. I later on didn't even have to write down even a word. I could just draw an apple and I would know what it means. That comes with confidence. Don't think you're stupid. That comes with confidence. Confidence and stress takes away like more than 50% of your performance. So, but we'll get there. Don't put too much stress on this right now. We will get there. So every chapter gets one page. So your one blank page, one chapter per page. Do not go on to second pages and third pages. You can get it all into one page. Every chapter gets one page. Use a blank page with no lines, the type that we print on. Now you're going to look at the information that you want to put on your page. So you want to look at the beginning and the ending of paragraphs. You want to look at bold and cursive print of words. Those are the key things that I want you to remember. That's going to go into your notes on your page. Align your headings. Can you see that I've aligned it here? Except if you like the mind map, that's a little bit more crazy, chaotic, creative, then you put it wherever you want. Use capital letters. Always use capital letters. Use color. For example, interestingly enough, they say don't use red. Red doesn't apparently go well with, I don't know what the research in on it, but they say avoid it, just avoid it. Use color and color code it. Color, make it interesting and lively for yourself. Use pictures. Remember, the crazier and funnier it is, the easier you will remember it. I'm going to show you, you're going to see why it fits in with the visualization. It's very difficult for the brain to remember this whole page with only written words here. Do pictures, do it interestingly, and you will remember it better. Make use of rhymes to remember keywords. So think of visual cues. For example, see an actual apple, an actual banana, or an actual grape. Use your imagination. You could also see the apple with a healthy badge on it, climbing into a jar of jelly or climbing onto a piece of toast. I know that you're going to tell me, listen, I have to get to all of this work now. Now I still have to make rhymes and stuff on top of it. You're going to do it once. And you're going to remember it for the entire year. Because remember, you have tests in the meantime. You have to write exams about all of the stuff at the end of the year as well. You're not going to redo. You're not going to re-summarize. You're not going to re-visualize. You're going to do it that one time, and you're going to use the same thing one time. So it is more effective. Use acronyms and acrostics. For instance, highlight the first letter of your headings or of your content. If you look at the diagram, identify A for apples, B for bananas, G for grapes. Either remember it as ABG or ABG, it almost sounds like ABC. So you could perhaps be more creative and write a sentence with it, something like Abby bought greens. I only do this if I really can't get it into my head. Otherwise, I just visualize. We'll get to the visualization shortly, but I do this if I can't get it into my head for some reason. Otherwise, I just visualize. Then create associations. Don't learn in isolation. Don't go George Bush, 1921, whatever. I'm just sucking it out of my thumb. Don't learn in isolation. See how apples link in with everything else there. How does bananas link in? Don't learn in isolation. That's why we can't remember, because you're desperately trying to remember it. Sit back, relax, and just accept the information. Then write in sequence. You want to create a storyline. The one factor should trigger the next through the next fact in your head. All right, tell a story to yourself. Understand your keywords and your summaries. You can't memorize things that you don't understand. You'll see that the brain struggles with that. While making summaries, memorize it too. Then it's easier to recall the information when reviewing, just keeping an eye on the time, yeah? Don't just rewrite. Okay, but now I'm going to get to the very interesting, this is exciting part. There's no questions yet. So, okay, I'm going to show you how to visualize, because this is the crux of the matter. Okay, so I've written out, what I'm going to tell you now, I've written it out here, but it's easier for me to explain it to you because you know the writing and the whatever. Let's go to this is my organogram. Right, this is how you're going to visualize it. So this is my summary page. I've got it here with me that I'm planning my summaries on this page, and here are my notes, my handbook, whatever. So now I firstly number my page, because I could have one day up to 50 pages. Don't confuse yourself. Number the page. This is page number 1. This is chapter 1, and this is about fruit. You're going to take that page and put it into a folder. Don't confuse yourself by having the things lie around. Please do yourself a favor. Be organized. So I look through my handbook. I see that this is about fruit. I write down in the middle of my page. I see where I write it down, fruit. Then I've identified my subheadings, which is apples, pears, and bananas. And I had to read through my chapter to identify it. So you want to circle it, and you're going to write it down on your summary page, nice and neat, next to each other. So you can see these are the subheadings. All right, now the secret is, before you continue with the content under apples, sit back, close your eyes, see where have you written on your page the word fruit or the picture fruit or whatever. And I want you to actually do it right now. Close your eyes, and literally relax your arms and see it. See the words fruit or the word fruit, where it is on the middle of this page. And just see it. Don't try and remember it. Don't try and recall it. Just see it. See the words. Even if you wrote it out fat and bold and in big fat blue letters, whatever, see it. Don't open your eyes yet. Now see where you've written down the word apples on the left, pears in the middle, and bananas on the right. So whether you've written it down there where you are at home or at your office on your piece of paper, it doesn't matter. Whether you've written it down or see it here where I've written it, doesn't matter. You can picture anything that you see in front of you. So can you see the word apples on the left, pears in the middle, and bananas on the right? Okay, so without having to try and remember whatever, can you see, you can roughly recall it. You can roughly see it. Right, now only we're going to go into the contents of apples. Now you go back to your notes, your handbook, and you are going to, same as the spider, write down the most important things about apples in your handbook. So circle there. Look at the beginning of paragraphs, the ending of paragraphs, any words that cursive, bold, or anything. Circle that. Then, but get the picture of what they're trying to tell you. Don't try and remember keywords and isolated words. So what they say is, I can make jam with apples, I can make juice with apples, everything that you think is important, and either number it, make it bullet point, draw arrows, anything. Remember, you can do anything here. But write it down, but see what is it that they're trying to tell me about apples. Okay, so see jam, see juice. Now, before you go under the content of pears, stop yourself, sit back, relax your shoulders, look away. Can you see right in front of you, in the middle of the page? And remember, this was page 1. I wrote a little one there in the top right-hand corner. See the word fruit. Whether you close your eyes or not, see it. Don't try and recall it. Don't try and remember it. See where you've written down fruit. Under that, you can see your little diagram, your lines. You can see the left-hand top corner, apples, pears in the middle, and bananas to the right. Can you see it? Don't try and recall it. Don't try and remember it. See it. Relax your shoulders. Breathe deeply and see it. Then go to your apples page without looking at it. See what I've written down under apples. Can you see that without me even looking at it? I can see jam, and below that I can see juice. And the story that they want me to remember is that with apples, you can make, there's various purposes for it. You can make jam, you can make juice, and whatever else it is that you've written down there. Now you go back to your handbook and you look up under all the details that you want to write down under pears. So I put here, I couldn't think of great examples, so we just put there cake, pears cake, cakes and tarts, and whatever else you want to put down there. So write it down there. So tell yourself the story. You can make cakes, cookies, biscuits, whatever. Tart, a big thing, and write that down. Before you continue, sit back, relax, close your eyes, effortlessly see in front of your eyes the words fruit. See the words fruit? Effortlessly recall. Remember, there were 3 subheadings. Close your eyes. See effortlessly the 3 subheadings. Apples, pears, and bananas. It's okay if it's a little fuzzy. Don't worry. You're not a machine. You're not a robot. You're a person who's trying to get the information into your head. So just see it. Apples, pears, bananas. Without trying to recall and remember, just see on the page, where did you write down jam and juice? And recall as many of the facts there that you can. But where do you see it on the page? Literally see it on the page. See the fat words that you've written down, J-A-M for jam. See it. See the color that you used there. Then you go to pears. And pears, you can see there was a little block just below pears. That was about cakes. Let's say there's cookies and whatever else. Below that, there's tarts. Right. Now only you go to number 3, which is bananas. Now go circle in your handbook anything about bananas. Banana loaf, you can dry bananas, you can do whatever bananas, but you write down keywords, draw pictures, whatever. Now, first, before you do anything else, go sit back, relax your shoulders, try and see. Don't try and recall. See where you've written on the page. Remember, this was my page 1. This was my chapter 1. Right at the top, I wrote down their fruit. There was 3 subheadings on this particular page, which is apples, pears, bananas. I hope you guys are closing your eyes. Are you closing your eyes? And then under apples, just see, effortlessly, see, J-A-M for jam. And under that, even if you can't really recall, what else can you do with apples? Yes, there's apple juice, there's dried apple fruit rolls, whatever. Think about the brainstorm. Think about what is it that they're trying to teach you here. Don't just focus on that isolated word. Think broader, relax your shoulders. What can you do with apples? What are they trying to tell me? Then you go to pears. What was under pears? There were 2 distinct things that I wrote down. There was something about cakes, cookies, and here there was something about tarts. And see the picture that you drew. See the word that you wrote out. Whether there was like 10 pointers below each other or 5 pointers, just see it. Just effortlessly try and recall it. And you will also see, can you see that on this little diagram, as simple as it is here, even under the 3 topics, there's correlations between each other. Like you can bake things, you can make juice with all of them. Try and see the whole bigger picture that they're trying to tell you, but effortlessly sit back and recall it. Right, our time is looking good. Okay, first tell me, how was that? Does it make sense? Or do you think I'm smoking something? Maybe it's all in my head. Okay, so please give me your feedback on how that was. And remember, you want to practice this. I've given you this now in 5 minutes. You want to practice it and you want to relax and you have to practice to see things. Get away from trying to remember, memorizing. And can you feel that as soon as you have to recall something, the stress comes. Oh God, my brain is not fast enough. It is there. You've seen it. I can tell you tomorrow morning when you think about this little diagram again, you can close your eyes. You can remember at least 50% of it. Some of the detail over here may be fuzzy, which is normal because the more you reiterate this pattern, the more you're going to recall. Now, remember, you're going to do the same with a mind map. It's exactly the same with a mind map. So if you choose the mind map, that's more creative. You do exactly the same. Let's look at the comment here. Actually very helpful, and I can see already how it will work for me. Listen, the structures are already in your brain. If you can remember the Titanic, if you can remember, what's his name, Kate Winslet, and what's his name standing like this on the front part of the ship, you can remember fruits, apples, bananas, and pears. So don't underestimate yourself. You just don't know how to do it yet. As soon as you get comfortable with this, I'm telling you now, I'm not a brain surgeon. At one point when I did my psychometric exam, I remember distinctly having 50 summary pages. I numbered it, page 1, page 2, page 8. There was 50. I could visually see each one of them. And I promise you I'm not a brain surgeon. I promise you I'm not an astronaut. I'm possibly an average, hopefully a little higher average type of functioning person. But you can do so much better. And even if you are someone who struggles with concentration, this will work even better for someone who's got concentration problems. All right, I want to get to the second part that's very, very important. So there's all sorts of examples here of, can you see the diagrams? Can you see there's all sorts of examples here? You can picture anything. If you draw a big fat spider in the middle of your page, you close your eyes and try and see it, you're going to see it. You're going to see where that spider is on your page. You can see it clearly, but you have to relax your brain, see it. Don't try and remember and recall. Okay, you're going to do the same with this mind map. All right. Don't you want to tell me here on the screen who likes the organogram and who likes the mind map? It would be interesting for me to see. Sometimes I see fewer people likes the mind map, but if I look at Tony Buzan, there's a hell of a lot of people that likes the mind map. It doesn't make a difference. It's just the way that your brain works. I'm actually quite a creative, flexible, crazy, unorganized person in real life, but my study work needs to be organized. So it's interesting that it's the opposite. So don't think because you like this that you won't like that. It's nonsense. Go through this. And adapt according to what you think will work for you. So someone says a bit of both, depends on what I would study. Absolutely. You can put anything on your page. You can make it twisted a little bit. You can absolutely do whatever you want on there. You will be able to visually see it. Remember a movie like the Titanic, that's not structured. We can all remember it. So get used to this. Train yourself. Get used to it. Probably the biggest thing that people tell me is that it takes too long to summarize it like that. You're rewriting your handbook in any way. I know that all of you do. If all of you have done the same, we rewrite the handbook. So if you can do that, you can just as well do this. Then I want to go to the second part where I want you to put this into the long-term memory. There's some more examples of the mind map. The long-term memory, and this is going to be crucial for you to start doing or tell your children to start doing this next year. There's some general tips here that you can read in your own time, blah, blah, blah. Right. Now we're going to do the planned part. You're actually going to have 3 calendars. There's going to be a year planner. You know those nice big plastic planners that Pick and Pay has? It's $30. You've got a Cokie with it. Go buy that thing for next year right now already. Then you're going to put that up against a wall or a door or whatever. This is how you're going to see what your whole year looks like. You'll be able, even though your exam or test dates are not identified yet, as they come out, you'll be able to go cross out, like the month of May is going to be a test period, June is an exam period or whatever. Even if you don't have the exact dates, you already know the areas in which the tests and exams will take place. So let's quickly cover the year planner. In the year planner, you're going to have another planner. At the beginning of your academic year, obtain a calendar which indicates each month of the year, or be creative and draw your own calendar. Use colored pens to highlight each subject topic that has deadlines, submission dates, or exam dates. So as you get dates for things, even your fun things, indicate your fun things or birthdays that you have so that you can plan around fun things as well. Do not neglect the off time and the fun times. Also identify your end date or goal. Is it perhaps a study course of 3 months, or is it an entire school year? This will allow you to view your entire year visually from a distance and start creating a rough plan strategy in your mind. Consequently, this will allow you to do your planning for each task without running out of time. Okay, so this is what your planner looks like. This is just an example. Where's the picture of this thing? There we go. So this is just, I got this off the internet, but you can see this is the planner for the whole year. Those plastic planners from Pick and Pay and Checkers are the best. Go get the thing right now, put it up with Prestick. Okay, and then you're going to have 2 other calendars. Let me just make it smaller so that you can fit, so that you can see both calendars. Okay, this is the first one. Okay, this is the first one. All right, so you're going to ask me, why do I have so many planners? You're going to have a planner for, say, for example, you identify the month of May. The whole month of May is going to be exams and tests and stuff. This planner is before the month of May. Then you'll see here, I've got the second planner here, table 3. This is the month of May. Okay, so do you understand the difference? This one, the first one, table 2, is before the month of May when I'm going to write my exam. So you want to tell yourself you can make any time period before the exam starts. So if you know my exam starts on just roughly the 1st of May and the whole of May is going to be busy, you want to, this first planner is from May before the time. So you can count 3 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever you feel is necessary for you in preparation for when the exam starts in May. And then only you're going to get to your second planner, which is this one. Right, let me tell you why I do it this way. This was probably in school the only thing that worked well for me. The other was just luck and prayers and sweat and blood and tears. So this does work well. A lot of people don't like because it's like a schedule. I don't like a schedule, whatever. It really works well. Be flexible within your schedule, but stick to your schedule. So can you see here at the bottom, this last day, can you see here, it says exam starts. So from that day, you're going to count back how many days you need to get through all of your subjects. You can draw a calendar yourself. I almost suggest that you do it yourself so that you're not linked to specific days. So here you can see I've said day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. I've counted 21 days before, but that's just me. You can make more, you can make less. So then what I do, I take every single handbook. Let me just keep an eye on the time. I don't want to take too long. Then you want to take your handbook or your notes or whatever. And now, remember, you haven't started doing your structured summaries yet. You may have, you may not have, doesn't matter. But you want to take your history, all your books, take all your books, take Postit Notes and literally mark for day 1, I'm going to do maths, page 1 to page 13 on that day. And I'm doing it that way because I see it's doable, it's reasonable, it's practical. Don't just say day 1, chapter 1, day 2, chapter 2, day 3, chapter 3. Some chapters are 50 pages and another chapter is 10 pages. Don't screw yourself because you want to almost take a whole day to do this. you take every single handbook and you mark with a Post-it note, page 1 to 13 for that day. The next I'm going to do page 14 to 25 or whatever. It doesn't matter what your pages or chapters, it must just be very reasonable, very practical. Don't tell yourself you're going to do 3 chapters on that day. It has to be reasonable, practical. It needs to be relaxed. You don't want to exhaust yourself as well. And then can you see that I've actually marked here, page 1 to 19. You can also mix you'll know what type of person you are. Do you want to mix your subjects or do you want to finish a subject, then move on to the next one? So I've done it mixed here. I'm actually a person who likes to finish a subject and then move on to the next one, but you can mix, do variety, do whatever you want, what feels good for you. So here I've combined maths and science, page 1 to 19. It's very specific. Page day 2, I'm breaking it up into more details. And then can you see I'm finishing off those and then I'm moving on to the next subjects. And the next subject, you do identify a random rest day. Plan this around parties, birthdays, and things like that, so you don't totally miss out. If you're planning like this and you see this is someone's birthday, but now I've work to do, swap your days. Be flexible within it, but don't not stick to your roster, but move around. Do it. Be flexible. Use your Postit notes to adjust and whatever, as long as you roughly stay with your plan and color coded as well. The guy that did the e-guide for us, he now didn't color code my nicely designed calendar, but use colors for maths. Make maths blue, science red, English yellow, whatever. Make it interesting. And another thing, as you want to put this roster against your wall in front of you, you can totally see it. As you successfully complete every day, cross it out. You will not believe the mind game that it plays on you when your eyes can see the progress. We really neglect what our eyes see and what our perception is from our circumstances. That's our biggest downfall. Also, have you ever felt how overwhelming and stressful it is when you've got 20 books around you like this? That's your desk, and you're thinking, but I can't do all of that. But if you think about the only thing I have to do is the Post-it note from page 1 to 19 today. This is all I have to do today. But when your brain sees all these books and things lying around, it does play a trick on the mind. Believe me, this is the only time I'll say it. Believe me, I'm a psychologist. I know what I'm talking about. So just focus on those few pages. And when you've planned all your subjects and books, then put them away. You only took it out when you're busy with it, because now it's only you with page 1 to 19 with your little white printing page with your color cookies on your desk. That's all. There's nothing else. Take everything else away. Do not underestimate the power of what the eyes see when they think, let's look at everything that I need to do. The fact that you have a planner in itself will also dramatically minimize your stress. It will make you calmer because you feel like, even unconsciously, I've got a plan. I don't have to worry about biology and this and this and this and that, because I know it's got a plan to be slotted in on some later date, but I just need to do this today. I only need to do this today. I only need to do this today. Make life easy for yourself. Don't make it difficult. It's already unpleasant to study and to learn, but we do want to be successful one day. We want to have the big bucks one day. So if you have your eye on the goal, do your preparation step by step by step. Now I'm going to show you another secret, because now you're going to tell me, but now I'm on this calendar now, né? So how on earth am I going to remember what I did on day 1, 2, and 3? Because remember, here my exam starts. How am I going to remember that in my actual exam period? Because this is the period most before the actual exam starts. Okay, but this is what the second calendar is for. So this is the second calendar. So can you see? Here my exam starts. Exam day 1, exam day 2, exam day 3. So those visualization and summary techniques that I showed you, you've put all those notes in a file. You've numbered it, page 1, page 2, page 3, whatever. You take out that little file. So, for example, let's say exam day 2, I have to write history. On the day and on the day before, you don't do any study work or anything else like that. You take out that folder, that file that you made with all your summary pages in it, and you only take that out and you revisualize and recall, just like you've recalled the organogram that I just showed you, every single page. And you will remember some of it may be a little bit fuzzy. What I mean is you will see that some of the information will be a little fuzzy, but a little bit rusty. Don't stress, because that's normal. Even if you think about the Titanic now, there's certain details you can't totally recall, but if you watch the movie again, you will. So just give yourself time to take those out, try and recall as much as you can, and then revisualize it. The next morning before your exam, you revisualize it again. But no new notes, no new summaries, no new nothing. So this whole period is the most relaxed. It is the most time that you're going to have on your hands ever. But if you do the visualization like I taught you, you will be able to recall it. If you only make your notes and you don't visualize and remember it, this is going to be a disaster. I've done that before because I was lazy. I just made a hell of a lot of notes. And when I got before the exam, I didn't even know what the hell I wrote there. I couldn't allocate my keywords. I didn't know what the drawings meant. I wasted all of my time. So make sure that you do that visualization like I told you. There's another secret, how you will recall what I've studied here in my exam period is, can you see your day 1? So I'm going to learn some stuff over here. And remember math, certain things there, and even your languages, it's not the same as a study subject. So you're gonna practice some things. It's going to be a little bit different. Let me just keep an eye on the time. It's going to be a little bit different from your learning subject. So give yourself enough time for practice as well. But here on day 1, you're going to make your notes. When you get to day 2, you're going to quickly revise what you did the day before. So if you revise every day, so day 3, you're going to quickly revise what you did on day 2, but quickly. You're just going to quickly visualize. Don't sit the whole day. Day 4, you're going to quickly revise what you did on day 3. That is a big secret. That goes into the long-term memory. So not only did you visualize, but if you recap quickly what you did the day before, it really embeds it into the long-term memory. Now, there's one other secret. You can only study a maximum of 50 minutes at a time. 10 minutes break, 50 minutes learn, 10 minutes break. The nice thing about that is you will find if you set yourself an alarm clock, that 50 minutes, or like what I like to do is 45 minutes, 15 minutes break, 45 minutes, 15 minutes break. I just like it like that. That 45 minutes is so short. You don't even want to daydream because you know that your alarm clock is going to go off. It actually really works because you feel like it's such a short period. And also don't give yourself, I have the whole Saturday to study. You have 45 minutes, 45 minutes, 45 minutes. That whole thing of I've got the whole Saturday, you know you waste your time and you know that you daydream because I've got the whole day. But if I know I've got only 45 minutes, you are much more focused. You will put in the effort because the 45 minutes is over very, very quickly. And you have to take a 15 minutes break. Get up from your chair, move around, wash dishes, whatever. The secret is when you get back to your chair after the 15 minutes break, just quickly, recap what you did just now. That also then goes into the long-term memory. So can you see now I recap every 45 minutes quickly. Every next day, I quickly recap. But remember, just visualize. You're just visualizing it. But by the time you get to in your exam period, it's really like you have watched the movie Titanic like 20 times. So does this make sense to you? Please tell me whether this makes sense to you. And remember, you may think, yeah, but this is a hell of a lot of effort. But if you do this in the month of May, when you have to do retest and re-exams again over that study material in November, you just take out that little folder. You're going to be rusty in November. But when you visualize it again, that's like for the millionth time, you will remember that information forever. Okay, so someone here also said that it makes sense to them. Really try it, and remember, in the beginning you're going to be slow. You're going to be frustrated because you're going to be slow. You're going to think, my God, I have to now do it 35 times and I'm slow. You'll get very quick and smooth with time, but you have to practice and practice and practice it, and be organized. Get your calendars in place. Get your Postit notes. We've got 7 minutes left, and I want to tell you another secret where get yourself some lemon verbena. Lemon verbena is like a lavender aromatherapeutic oil, like a lavender or a chamomile, whatever. But lemon verbena, instead of relaxing you, it actually makes you concentrate. So get your lemon verbena. Baroque music. The typical old Baroque music has scientifically been proven to improve your concentration. So even if you play it in the background and it irritates you in the beginning, give it time, practice it, give it time. It irritated me a lot in the beginning, but because they said it was scientifically proven, I thought, let me just push through it. And today, that's all I do. Even when I work, I play Baroque music because it actually aligns brain waves. It makes you relax, at the same time optimizing your concentration. It's been scientifically proven. So practice that. Get things like nuts, protein to nibble on while busy. Drink a lot of water because the water carries the oxygen through the blood to the brain. So even though you start feeling tired, you'll take longer to get tired because you're keeping your body at optimal. That's why you only want to study 45 minutes at a time and take breaks. Just because you feel energetic, don't let it fool you. Don't let it fool you. You can go longer during a day with 45 minutes, 45 minutes, 45 minutes than if you just push through. So there's been scientific studies about that as well, where your concentration after 2 hours, it just dips. Whether you like it or not, it goes. So keep at it 45 minutes, 15 minutes break, 45 minutes, 15 minutes break. But my point, what I was trying to make is, before I start studying, I work myself up. I go look for my lemon verbena. I get the candle burner with the little candles. I've got my lighter on standby. I get my nuts and bubble gum, because bubble gum, chewing the bubble gum is also proven to improve concentration. It's the rhythmic thing of it. I get my Baroque music ready. I have a little lamp that will shine on my work so that there's no strain on my eyes. I make sure that my ventilation in the room is good. I've got my bottle of water. Can you see that I'm psyching myself up? I'm getting excited about this process. I've got all my little things, because it's not the most pleasure to go sit there, to work on a Saturday while you could have done something nice. So make it as nice and comfortable and good for you as you possibly can, and work yourself up. Also, research what works well. For example, something like druivenworst with the fat in it is very good for the concentration. If you're a vegetarian, do almond and all sorts of nuts. Keep yourself excited and in the loop. Do dry berries or whatever. Just try and stay away from sugar. I know dried berries and stuff could have sugar in it. But sugar and any type of fast food will put strain on the brain. So keep, throughout that day, eat as healthy as you possibly can. That's why a lot of time people feel lethargic after lunch because they've had bread and they've had pap. Unfortunately, millipap and those things make you lethargic and tired. You need to go back to protein, the meats and nuts and eggs and those type of things. So also research what it is that work well with you. You also get to learn, know about your own body. So I think I've covered everything that was really important for me. We will cover all of this again on the 1st of December, because these things that I showed you work very closely hand in hand. This is like a cycle that you have to have your summary, however you want to make it. You have to have your planner, and then you have to visualize in that, and you have to recap quickly, constantly, recap. Okay, so the music, it's Baroque music. I'll put it here in the chat bar. You can Google it. If you go on YouTube and you put in Baroque music, it will just pop out all over the place. It will say Baroque music for studying, optimal studying. It's all over YouTube now. So this is It's baroque music and, interestingly enough, marching music. I don't listen to marching music. I think that could possibly be incredibly, maybe boring, but hey, if you like it, try something different. It's the rhythm that's been proven to optimize. So get your little bubble gums over here, get your nuts, get your things, and get yourself ready to study. But be organized. Even if you see yourself as not an organized person, I'm not very organized. I don't do filing. I get very confused very quickly, but I feel very much in control when I organize myself with my studying. If I don't do it, my wheels come off. So, okay, so someone said, yeah, thank you so much. Would you kindly email us a presentation? I would like to watch this with my son. Yes, we will have a recording of this. So the recording will be sent to you. And remember, on the 1st of December, we will recap this, and possibly we can do all of this again in the new year together with the stress management, because the stress management is incredibly important. I would say the reason why people fall back on their old crappy habits is because of stress, because they're not fast enough, they're not quick enough. That's what they know. So they're too worried to do this because it's new, and now I have to do this, and I'm stressed. That's why I start way in advance so that you can start getting used to it and plan well. So life skill courses, the only courses that I do is we do this course in a lot of depth and detail. We also do the stress management course in a lot of detail, and we combine it because I truly believe that the stress goes hand in hand with the studying. So, and the life skills, it would depend on what is your problem, and we can zoom in on that. If you go onto our website, you can actually book courses there. You can book separate courses, or you can buy, say, a manual or whatever, and you can buy a session with us as well. And it's very, very cost effective. I think our sessions at this stage is like 500 Rand an hour. And we can do it online. Study Methods Academy. So this is our new website. It's the studymethodsacademy.com. So on the manual, it still has got the old. Actually, I think I must fix it first before I send it to you. For now, I think we can send all of you the recording. So please contact either myself or HR Talk, and they will give you our details. But this is our website, and you can make contact on the with us, and you can just go make a booking. There's a calendar as well, so it's great. You just go choose the date that you want, the slot in an afternoon or whatever. You can see if we're available. You make a slot and a booking, and we will go through this. I usually recommend at least 3 sessions before it sinks in and before you will really get used to it. What we also do with the students, we actually take their study work and we do it with them, because sometimes they struggle to identify the heading and the subheadings, because when we were in school, we had a handbook and it had headings and subheadings. Nowadays, I don't know, they print out things from the internet and it's this bunch. But then again, I must tell you, when I did my psychometric stuff, I just had stacks of papers. I just organized it myself. But it gives you the page, a summary page. It's like a folder in a computer where I know that's the name of the folder. And I can go through all the files and I get to that folder to get my answer. Whereas if you just try and remember, you have to pull it out of somewhere. But if you structure it like this, it's like opening your computer and going into this file with the sub-files, with the details of that file. Isn't that much easier? So this is why we do the structured summary, but no more writing. If your children are writing out stuff, writing, they're wasting their time. They probably have a lot of potential and wasting the time on writing. So this can really be practiced. Okay, what's the time? 2 minutes after 10. So you've got our website address. Please make contact with myself through the website or with HR Talk, and we'll make contact. But remember, the 1st of December, we'll do the same. So I'm glad a lot of people are saying that it was helpful for them. I'm very, very glad, because studying doesn't have to be a pain. It doesn't have to be a punishment. That's what we all think. So thank you so much for everyone that joined in. It was a nice big class. I was so happy about that. But we'll do it again. We'll definitely do it again this year and next year. Okay, but thank you all to you as well. And thank you for listening and participating. I will see you soon. All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.